This is more than just a daring professional decision. This is an earthquake of culture. The NFL was just caught off guard by a college quarterback who decided he wasn't following the rules, not by a rival league or competitor. Shedeur Sanders declined the NFL draft in more ways than one. He signed one of the most explosive paradigm-shifting contracts we've ever seen outside of the league, completely upended the system, and got past the gatekeepers. As well as the league. Yes, they're furious, frantically trying to figure out how this happened, and speaking to each other behind closed doors. It's important to remember that this isn't simply about one person opting for independence. This is about the NFL's iron grasp on young talent beginning to loosen. The game has been permanently altered by Shedeur Sanders. Go ahead and subscribe if you're interested in the true tale and all the messy turns that aren't shown on highlight reels. Additionally, you should certainly subscribe if you plan to stay to watch how this Browns quarterback crisis unfolds. Let's begin with the actual shock wave. Instead of going into the draft and signing a rookie deal with a team that might bench him, lowball him, or stick him in some disorganized rebuild, Shedeur said, no thanks. Instead, he took a contract with real money. Money that rivals what first-round quarterbacks make. But with freedom, with equity, with control, and the cherry on top, this isn't just a pile of cash. This deal includes a stake in Gatorade. Yeah, you heard that right. Not just a sponsorship, not just a check. Equity, ownership, a literal piece of the company. Think about that. While rookie quarterbacks are out here trying to survive minicamp and praying they don't get replaced by a journeyman vet, Shedeur is making money in his sleep off of every bottle sold in convenience stores and every commercial splash of fluorescent sports drink. He didn't just sign a contract. He signed a blueprint for every elite college athlete who's sick of being told to wait their turn. And you know what's really driving the NFL wild right now? It's that they didn't see this coming. They underestimated him. They saw Deion's son flashy and confident and assumed he'd fall in line when the draft rolled around. Instead, Shedeur outplayed them off the field. He didn't need a combine invite to prove his worth. He didn't need a rookie orientation speech about earning your keep. He already built a brand. Already pulled in millions in NIL. Already became the face of college football. And now he's stacking pro-level deals while still controlling the one thing the NFL always tries to own, his future. This move wasn't spontaneous. It was surgical. Shedeur saw the board and made a move that not only benefits him, but changes the game for everyone behind him. Because let's talk about what the NFL really sells. Control. They control where you go, what you make, and how long you get to stick around before they toss you aside. Especially as a young black quarterback, that leash is short. You're expected to prove everything instantly under impossible circumstances while staying quiet, humble, and brand safe. But Shedeur, he's doing something different. He's betting on himself. And for the first time ever, he has the leverage to actually do it. It's the nil era, baby. And the NFL is late to the realization that they don't own the pipeline anymore. Because thanks to NIL, players like Shedeur are building generational wealth before they even declare for the draft. They've got merch, endorsements, investments, content deals. They're not starving for that rookie check anymore. And that changes everything. Why take a pay cut just to enter the NFL under someone else's terms when you can get paid now on your own terms? That's the uncomfortable truth the league doesn't want to talk about. They're used to being the dream, the goal, the finish line. But for Shedeur, the NFL is looking more and more like just another option and not necessarily the best one. Let's be honest, how many top prospects got drafted into chaos? You grind for years, sacrifice your body, make it to the league, and end up on a bottom-tier team with a broken offense and a coach who didn't even want you. You spend your rookie year getting sacked into the turf while some grizzled offensive coordinator blames you in the media. You make less than your nil deal. And by year 2, the team's already looking at another quarterback. Shedeur saw that trap and he sidestepped it like a linebacker blitz. By staying in school, by aligning himself with ownership, by building equity into his brand, he's doing something no quarterback prospect has ever done before. He's created a parallel path. One that isn't beholden to draft politics. One that doesn't depend on a coach's approval. And one that pays just as much, if not more, than a rookie contract. It's a message to the NFL. You don't own us anymore. To young athletes, you don't need to wait your turn. To the fans, the power dynamic is shifting and fast. And the NFL is terrified because if Shedeur succeeds, And let's be honest with this strategy, how does he not? Then what's stopping others from doing the same? What happens when the next wave of elite college players realizes they can get paid and maintain control over their careers? What happens when they realize they can build influence, create wealth, and stay out of toxic locker rooms and unstable franchises? What happens when choice becomes the new norm? The NFL's monopoly on talent, it starts to crack, and we're already seeing it. More college stars are staying in school longer. More NIL deals are coming with performance incentives, equity, and real structure. The old go pro or go broke narrative. Dead, dusted, replaced by build now, enter later, or maybe never. And let's not forget the cultural shift. Shedeur is not just a quarterback. He's a movement. He represents swagger, intelligence, and independence. He's not waiting for the league to validate him. He is the brand. Kids aren't just watching Shedeur for his arm. They're watching him for the blueprint. And the NFL can feel it. You got GMs and front offices sitting in war rooms wondering how to stop this from becoming a trend. They're trying to figure out how to keep players in their lane. But here's the thing, there is no lane anymore. Shedeur just bulldozed it. And it's not about being anti-NFL. It's about being pro player. About saying I'll play your game when it works for me, not just because I'm supposed to. That's revolutionary. So what's next? Well, for Shedeur, the path is wide open. He's getting richer by the day. He's still developing his game without the grind of a bad NFL situation dragging him down. And when, if he chooses to enter the league, he'll be coming in on his terms, with leverage, with options, with a resume no one can touch. For the NFL, the league has a choice. Evolve or lose relevance with the next generation of stars. They can either fight this wave or start building systems that respect players as partners, not property. Because Shedeur just proved something undeniable. The future isn't drafted, it's designed. And it's being designed right now by players. Who aren't just athletes, they're businessmen, strategists, brands. Shedeur Sanders isn't just skipping the draft. He's rewriting the playbook. And the NFL, they're officially on notice. Now, we want to hear from you. Was Shedeur Sanders' move the smartest power play in modern football, or is the NFL still too strong for players to go around it? Drop your take in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe if you want more deep dives into the biggest meltdowns, shakeups, and game changers in the world of sports. Because the NFL thought they were untouchable, and Shedeur Sanders just touched everything. Let's not sugarcoat this. What Shedeur Sanders just pulled off isn't just bold, it's historic. It's a line in the sand. A full-blown declaration of independence from the most powerful sports league on earth. And the shockwaves, they're not just rattling NFL boardrooms. They're hitting every single level of organized football. From college programs to agents to media pundits who suddenly can't predict what comes next. And you know what? That's exactly the point. Because for the longest time, the NFL held the narrative. If you were a college football player, no matter how talented, no matter how smart, no matter how marketable, your future belonged to a draft board. You sat and waited, hoping your name got called by a team that wouldn't ruin you. Hoping you didn't fall down the rounds. Hoping you didn't land somewhere cold and broken with a coach on his way out and a fan base ready to boo. Shedeur looked at that entire system and said, why should I settle for a gamble when I can build an empire now? And let's be real, he's earned that question. He's done the work both on the field and off. He's performed under pressure, absorbed criticism, elevated his game, and most importantly, turned himself into a brand. Not just some generic quarterback prototype, but a fully formed, media-savvy, business-first athlete who knows his worth and knows how to move. This isn't a stunt. This is a strategy. And it's a threat to the status quo that the NFL is scrambling to control. Because Shedeur didn't just get paid, he got equity. He got partnership. He got out of the league's sandbox entirely and started building his own. And just like that, the illusion broke because now the other athletes are watching. The next wave of 5-star quarterbacks, the wideouts with 1 million TikTok followers, the tight ends pulling in nil deals with Nike and Chipotle. They're all looking at Shedeur and going, wait, I don't have to play their game. You don't. And that's what terrifies the NFL because control has always been their currency. Not just financial control, but narrative control. They decide who's mature, who's ready, who's humble. They love buzzwords, love to mold players into obedient spokesmen for the Shield. But Shedeur, he's unmoldable. He's already his own institution. And the beauty of this, he's still in college. Let's not forget this man is still technically a student athlete. And yet, he's walking into rooms that NFL executives can't even access without a credential and a handshake. Shedeur is in meetings with brand execs, investment strategists, content studios. He's building something that transcends football. Meanwhile, NFL rookies are still signing away 5 years of control for a fraction of what Shedeur just locked in without taking a single pro snap. It's no longer about talent. It's about timing. And Shedeur's timing perfect. He's entering the sport at the exact moment when athletes finally have tools to monetize their own image. And he's using those tools to bypass every outdated system designed to own them. And here's what's even wilder. He's not done. This deal with Gatorade is just one domino. We're talking equity, not a Uniandone campaign, not a logo on a sleeve. This is long-term passive income, strategic alignment with a global brand. You know who else has deals like that? LeBron, Serena, Steph Curry, now Shedeur. Let that sink in. He hasn't even entered the NFL and he's already operating at an elite endorsement level. And the kicker, he doesn't need to go pro anytime soon. Why rush into a league where your draft position might determine your salary and your career trajectory when you can stay in school, train under your father, Shedeur Sanders, while making millions on your own terms? Why subject yourself to the NFL's pressure cooker when you can control the temperature of your own kitchen? And here's the real chess move. Shedeur's setting up options, not just cash flow. He's giving himself space. If he wants to enter the league later, cool. He'll do it with leverage. If he wants to pivot into media, easy. He's already got the following. If he wants to build his own sports business, he's halfway there. This is what freedom looks like in modern athletics. And for the NFL, this is an existential threat. Because once players realize that the NFL isn't the gatekeeper anymore, once they realize they can go around the league and still make generational wealth, everything changes. Suddenly, the draft doesn't look like a dream anymore. It looks like a trap. A flashy trap, sure, but a trap nonetheless. And let's talk about the fans for a second. Because yeah, there will be traditionalists clutching their pearls, yelling about earning your stripes and proving yourself on the field. But let's get real. Those same fans worship athletes who've already broken those rules. We love LeBron because he bet on himself. We love Serena because she built an empire outside of tennis. We love Steph because he changed the game with style and smarts. So why should Shedeur be any different? He's not disrespecting the game. He's elevating it. He's proving that the modern athlete isn't just a player, they're a product, a business, a movement. And the sooner the NFL accepts that, the sooner they can adapt to a future where players have more power than ever. But let's be honest, the league won't go quietly. You can already feel the passive-aggressive narratives brewing. They'll say he's distracted. They'll say he's chasing fame. They'll say he's avoiding the competition. You know the playbook. They've used it for decades to diminish athletes who think outside the box. But it won't stick. Not this time. Because Shedeur is not just changing his own destiny. He's changing the entire tone of this conversation. He's forcing executives, coaches, media, and even fans to ask one uncomfortable question. What if we're not the only path to success anymore? That's what makes this so powerful. Not just that he did it, but that he could. And now that he has, good luck putting that genie back in the bottle. College players are no longer just prospects. They're partners. And Shedeur just gave them the playbook. So what happens next? More players will follow, more brands will step in, more athletes will stay in school, stack money, and play the long game. The entire draft system, it starts to feel optional, obsolete, even outdated, and eventually the NFL is going to have to ask itself a brutal question. Are we the destination or just one of many stops along the way? Shedeur Sanders just made it clear. He's not waiting to be chosen. He already chose himself. And the league better catch up because the future just showed up wearing his own logo, holding equity shares, and sipping Gatorade with his name on the bottle. And that, my friends, is what disruption really looks like. Oh, we're still going. Because this story isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. Shedeur Sanders didn't just shake the table. He flipped it over, walked out with the silverware, and left the NFL wondering how it just got outmaneuvered by a 21-year-old still playing college ball in Boulder. And let's be real, this isn't just one guy making noise. This is the start of a revolution. We're watching the beginning of a shift so massive it could realign the entire foundation of pro sports. Shedeur is the face of it, but he's not the only one holding the blueprint. What he's done is bigger than football. He's given athletes, young, hungry, brand-savvy athletes, a new answer to an old question. Do I need the league or does the league need me? For years, the answer was obvious. You wanted the fame, the millions, the spotlight. You went to the NFL, period. You played by their rules, took what they gave you, and hoped you made it to that second contract before your knees gave out. But now Shedeur just carved out a whole new lane. And the most dangerous part for the NFL at least is how sustainable that lane looks. He's not surviving off hype. He's thriving off infrastructure. He's not some rogue one-time viral phenom. He's a calculated machine backed by real business acumen, a Hall of Fame football father, and a generation of fans who don't care if you're on ESPN or TikTok as long as you own your moment. And boy does Shedeur own his moment. This kid has presence. He walks into a room like he knows he's built different. Not because he's arrogant, but because he's aware. He's the kind of aware that shakes systems. The kind of aware that scares executives used to dealing with players who say yes sir and sign the dotted line before asking questions. Not Shedeur. He's asking all the right questions. Why should I accept a rookie deal when I'm already making more than that in endorsements? Why should I go to a franchise I didn't choose with coaches I don't trust just because the system says I have to? Why should I wait for respect when I can negotiate from a position of strength right now? Those questions are fuel and shoulder just lit the match. Because here's the uncomfortable truth the NFL's front offices are trying to avoid. This model works. It's not a fantasy. It's not a just for Sanders situation. It's a repeatable formula. Charismatic athlete, media-savvy family, strong college platform, nil era timing, and boom, another empire is born. You think Arch Manning isn't watching this? You think the next Caleb Williams-level recruit won't at least consider following this path? You think agents aren't frantically revising their entire approach to player development right now? They are. They have to because Shedeur just proved that if you play it smart, play it right, and build the right team around you, you don't have to kneel at the altar of the NFL anymore. You can build your own church. And now, let's talk about Deion. Because there's no Shedeur story without Coach Prime lurking somewhere in the background. Sharp suit, gold chains, sunglasses, and a playbook that defies tradition. Love him or hate him, Shedeur Sanders has never followed the rules. And that spirit lives in his son like it was passed down genetically. This is generational disruption. Prime Time didn't just raise an athlete. He raised an entrepreneur, a disruptor, a CEO in cleats. And this move, it's straight out of the Deion playbook. You think it's a coincidence that Shedeur has this level of vision at such a young age that he understands branding, media leverage, contract equity, and public positioning before even hitting the draft? No, that's mentorship. That's generational knowledge. That's Deion handing his son not just a jersey, but a strategy. And that's what makes this even more unstoppable. Shedeur isn't doing this alone. He's not some rogue maverick with no support system. He's part of a dynasty in the making. A new kind of football family that plays the sport on the field and dominates the business off it. And the NFL is watching all of this unfold with gritted teeth and clenched fists because they can't stop it. They can't find him. They can't suspend him. He's not in the league yet. He's untouchable. And more than that, he's influential. Shedeur isn't just making moves for himself. He's modeling a path, a new template for autonomy in sports. And for the NFL, a league built on a plantation-style draft system that locks young players into multi-year deals with little power. This is an existential threat. They know it. They've already started calling in the PR machine. Watch for the headlines. Is Shedeur afraid of NFL competition? Will his brand suffer without a pro debut? Is skipping the draft a mistake? The NFL is going to throw everything they can at this movement to try and reassert control. But the problem is they've already lost the narrative. And once you lose the narrative, the rest crumbles fast. You know who still controls the narrative? Shedeur. Every video he posts, every appearance he makes, every deal he signs, Every moment is a reinforcement of one thing. You don't have to follow the rules to win. He's writing a new story. And the old guard, they can't keep up. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about skipping the NFL. It's about outgrowing it, about showing that you can do what's best for your career and your bank account without sacrificing your independence to the highest bidder. This is about turning the dream of going pro into just one option among many. And for the NFL, that's a terrifying future. Because once enough players realize that the league isn't the only way that they hold the power, that they can choose when and how and if they enter, the whole system has to change. And that's what's coming. Slowly, loudly, inevitably, the gatekeepers have been exposed. The path has been redrawn. And Shedeur Sanders just became the face of a revolution. So let's bring it back to you, the viewer, the fan, the next G athlete scrolling through this saga. Ask yourself, if you had the talent, the following, the brains, and the blueprint, would you still wait to be drafted? Would you still hand your fate over to a system built before social media even existed? Or would you take the Shedeur route, bet on yourself, invest in your name, build the empire while the league watches from the sidelines? Because that's what we're seeing right now, the empire building. And when the next generation of stars makes their decisions, they won't just be looking at highlight reels or combined stats. They'll be looking at Shedeur Sanders, not for how he played the game, but for how he beat.